Okay. Oh, Lordy Jesus. Did y'all see the Snapchat on Blac Chyna's Snap talking about Tyga and whoever else screwed Chyna over? She was talking about how he kicked her out for Kylie and just going off. So I'm like, okay, let me see this. And then I saw her call him a fag. Now I thought, okay, hold on, lady. Now you can't say those type of words to describe a nigga because you may be bisexual, but you ain't a man. You ain't a queer man, okay? You ain't a part of you ain't part of the male LGBT, okay? You just a bisexual woman, and it don't matter if you're lesbian or not. You cannot say that word. Same thing with a man saying dyke or a femme woman saying dyke. You can't say that as someone who does not identify as butch or stem or stud. You can't really say that. But I understand why you were mad. But I just had to back up for a second, like, whoa there, baby. And this is why people like Amber Rose and Blac Chyna aren't really taken seriously as LGBT activists or sex positive activists, because they will say they are for a group of people, but then contradict what they are saying when they are going off people they don't like. Like, Blac Chyna has said things that were ableist. She has fat shamed before. She has talked about Wendy Williams, which I feel it was deserved. But people always held women like Blac Chyna and Amber Rose as these martyrs, these activists, when they will backtrack a lot of the things that they say. They say that they are sex positive and that they are for the LGBTQIA community, but then they will say things like fag and faggot. I'm saying it now because I'm just repeating what I am hearing, but I wouldn't use that word to describe someone out of anger. I follow a lot of gay and bisexual men who say those words to each other, but that's because it's something that they reclaimed. I can't call them out for it, just like if I were to say nigga to someone else that's black. No white person or non-black person can really correct me on how I am using a slur that is directed to me. You see, I call people bitches, hoes, cunts, when they piss me off. But these are all terms I get called myself as a woman, as a bisexual woman. So it's not like something where I can say it, but you can't. It's just, you need to watch what you say. So I just had to say something about it, because y'all be praising Blac Chyna and saying she's dragging people. So I go on there to see what she's dragging about, and she will drop in certain words that she really does not need to be saying. And Chyna, you can't even use that "I'm from the hood" excuse, because you are basically a mogul now. Okay, mogul, if that's how you pronounce it. You are related to the Kardashians. You have the internet. You have access to know what you can say and what you cannot say. So I don't really feel much sympathy for Blac Chyna, because I feel she is a social climber. I feel she is just as opportunistic as a Kardashian or a Jenner, but I want to champion her because, she's a black woman, a black female sex worker, but she will just be saying things that really aren't nice about other people, about other groups of people. She will throw gay men under the bus if she had the opportunity to, which she did. You don't say the F slur. You don't say the T slur. You just do not. And I feel she and Amber both be hanging around people that's like, oh, you can say this word, it's not a big deal, only pussies get offended. Because I know certain people who hang out with trans women, and trans women will say certain things that, are a little bit problematic, but that's something the trans community can call them out on it, especially trans women of color and black women. But I feel that's why they have certain friends who have said transphobic things in the past, because I feel they will let them say certain things that other people wouldn't let them get away with. So I feel that's what Blac Chyna and Amber Rose be on, where they got gay male friends that let them say these stuff. And as someone who is bisexual, as someone who is black, as someone who is autistic, I feel you cannot vie approval from a group of people so badly that you just allow them to say whatever is on their mind. You can't sit here and just be afraid to call someone out. Because I follow this person, I follow them, and they are an autistic Black girl. They were sitting here riding behind a bunch of people, calling me all types of ableist slurs, and you got in your handle that you are autistic. So I dragged the bitch and said, you looking for approval too. I had no sympathy for her, and I had no qualms with dragging that bitch, because you want to sit up here with your neurotypical followers and saying, I need help, I got some issues, but you, meanwhile, you have autism yourself, and as soon as you fuck up, they're gonna go after you. But I don't have sympathy for you, because you knew what you were getting yourself into. So yes, I was quick to drag her. I drag people who want to act tough but are weak on the inside. I do that because you're not gonna sit here and play me. You're not gonna sit here and act as if you a big bully, when meanwhile you just as weak as I am. I will go after you real quick. So, and I was gonna talk about Amber Rose as well, because I feel like Amber Rose, I like Amber Rose. Well, I once looked up to her because I felt she was a voice for women of color, Black women of color. She was a voice for the LGBT, but then she was just saying things that I did not approve of at all. I just did not care for what she said about bisexual men, and how she would never date them because she is insecure and that they are going to cheat. Bitch, you are a hypocrite. I think Amber Rose is a hypocritical bitch, because you want to sit here and have slut walk and say niggas don't need to know about a woman's body count, but yet you want to know about a nigga's body count. You want to know how many niggas he fucked. That's what you own. You own the same tip that you don't like it when men are on you about. You on that same tip about bisexual men, and you got so many young boys and young men looking up to you. You got so many male followers that look up to you, Amber. And for you to say that shit, because you said that quite some time ago, but that's when I lost respect for you, because you got a lot of boys following you. Little boys kill themselves all the time because they feel they aren't man enough, or because they feel like they are a quote unquote faggot. And especially little Black boys. So many little Black boys, mixed race boys, feel as if they aren't man enough, they don't fit into Black masculinity, and a lot of times that's why so many of them be having low self-esteem. They'll be depressed to the point where they will commit suicide because of bitches like you, bitches who take bisexuality as something cute, as something that's an aesthetic. Because I feel like you one of those people that will say you're bisexual, but deep down inside you're really not, and you just saying it because you want to look cute. You know, you want attention. You want to have a bigger following than you already have. You see me, I'm not completely out yet. I still haven't really told my parents that, and they will probably watch a video of mine and they will find out this way. But it's people like you that make it hard for a lot of women to come out and say who they are, because they are already sexualized. They are already stigmatized, and here you are just playing around, you know, talking about bisexual men a part of our community, and you thinking it's some type of joke. You thinking it's something cute to say. Well, I'm just insecure, and, you know, he may cheat because, you know, men are something that other men cannot resist. You see, that's what pissed me off. You don't say stuff like that. Same thing with Blac Chyna. As someone who's bisexual, and you sitting here just throwing the word fag around to straight men who are acting up, and you comparing shitty ass straight men to gay little boys, to bisexual little boys, to pansexual little boys, and these boys will see that and not want to be themselves. And that's why we need movies like Moonlight. Because it's bitches like you and niggas like, you know, Tyga that make it hard for boys who just be themselves. And I'm going to keep it 100, because I do believe there are some women who will just play around with the term bisexual just for attention, but not take it seriously. Who will sit around and say they are bisexual, but then turn around and use a woman and then be like, ew, like, you're disgusting. I don't want no pussy, or, you know, like, I don't want, like, I don't do trans women or that type of stuff like that. I feel like some women be on that shit, and that's not okay. Because I understand, like, as a bisexual woman, I primarily fuck with men. Like, I want to keep it 100. Like, romantically, I feel like, you know, I've mostly talked to men, or for the most part, most of the people that I've been attracted to were men. But I have been attracted to women. But I haven't acted upon that just because I was raised in a way where that wasn't normal. It was not normal to like both men and women. So I still have to deal with that. But people like Amber Rose, I feel she just takes it as a joke. She makes fun of that. She makes fun of women like that. She makes fun of women like me who feel as if you ain't really yourself, or I'm not really myself, because I'm told all the time I have to pick a side. And women like Dre and Michelle and those twins from Love and Hip Hop and Amber Rose, they will make jokes about that. They'll make all types of jokes about that. And then wonder why people don't really believe when you say you are what you are. Now, I feel like that's not fair, because there are gay men as well, or there are straight men who will sit here and make it like they are gay, but really they just doing it because they want to like get attention, or they want to get fans, but they exploit them. So I feel like it goes both ways. But I'm looking at it like, don't sit here and say you are something, you stand up for something, and then here you are saying a nasty word. Same thing with Azalea Banks. Everyone was defending that woman when she was calling Perez Hilton that word because, oh, well, she's bisexual herself. But she's not a bisexual man. She's not an LGBTQIA man. Only gay men, bisexual and pansexual men, and trans women can say those words, because trans women are women. But the difference is they also get called those words as a slur. Trans women hear faggot all the time as well. So yes, they cannot. The only type of women that should be really saying that word are trans women, as something that's to reclaim. But other than that, I don't need to hear a cis woman be using that word just because it's cute to say. Another thing is this whole canceled phenomenon where people are saying, I'm canceling this, I'm canceling him, I'm canceling her because she said something problematic. And it'll be something that was said 4 years ago. Now, I understand when you call someone out from something that they said 4 years ago, I feel they need to apologize quick, or else I will look at them like you a fake ass nigga. Like those people from New Edition movie. One of the guys was called out because he was talking about black girls from 2011, 2010, and he never apologized. Instead, he just deleted the tweets and just acted like he was normal. See, that's how niggas be, because niggas be saying some bullshit like 5 years ago, and then they didn't realize how serious it was, and now that they now into black women and black girls, and they be having nude pictures on their walls or on Twitter, on Facebook, or on their computer. Now they want to act like they love black women because they don't want to lose that reputation of their black female fans. And that's how that is. So if you're not going to apologize for that shit, I won't take you seriously. But it's just this new trend of, well, excuse me, can you delete this comment because it doesn't make me comfortable? Well, you are on my page. You can simply just scroll by and leave it at that. But now you want to sit here and send me messages asking me, well, it's problematic, can you delete it? It's kind of rude, it's kind of annoying, and I wish you will stop, because I have enough capacity to know when someone is problematic or not. Just because I compare someone to a certain artist or a certain actor does not mean I support that actor. That does not mean I support what that actor does. If I say something like I watch Roseanne, I do not support Roseanne's trans misogyny or her pro-Israel comments. If I, like, y'all don't understand, like, there are certain things that, like, I'm not watching the stuff where she's saying something transphobic. Like, if I say that, I like the old Johnny Depp, I'm not sitting there saying I like Johnny Depp of today where he was abusing Amber Heard. I'm talking about Nightmare on Elm Street Johnny Depp. So if I sat there and compared some model to Johnny Depp, like the aesthetic, and people are sitting here telling me, well, that's a little bit problematic, and I'm not mad at that, but that's just what irks me, is when people act as if I am supporting everything that people don't really support. Like, if I say I watched Match Point so many years ago, I am not supporting Woody Allen. I'm not supporting Scarlett Johansson being pro-Israel. Like, I feel like you can like certain entertainment as long as you're not, like, watching something where they are actively doing something that is bigoted or problematic. Now, some people I will draw the line, like Woody Allen or R. Kelly. I'm not gonna lie, I still listen to some of R. Kelly's music, but it's before 2010. I don't really listen to his music. I don't really listen to his new shit. But, like, it just really irks me when people act as if we can't tell the difference between supporting someone's actions and acknowledging, the cultural phenomenon they had. That's all I am saying. We're not sitting there supporting that. Like, a lot of times we can cancel people, but don't sit up here and expect everyone to cancel someone that you canceled. Because you got a problem with Amanda Stenberg starring in that Nazi apologism movie, that does not mean everyone has to feel that way. And that's especially for non-black POC or non-black Jewish girls who will sit there and say, well, Amanda Stenberg isn't intersectional, and I feel like y'all should cancel her. And it's like, I understand why you feel that way, and we should listen to you especially. But it's just like, I just feel suspicious if you are asking us to cancel certain people, but not all people, like black girls, like Amanda Stenberg. Because I just want to know, like, why are you so into people wanting to cancel everyone that you canceled? And then turn around and get us to like Azealia Banks. Y'all will make master posts on why Azealia Banks is the shit, and then tell us not to like a certain artist because, they did say something problematic in 2 songs. Okay, I can see that. But how I am looking at it is, I am no longer canceling people based off of them saying something that I don't necessarily agree with. I cancel people now off of the degree of which they said something problematic or their consistency of being problematic. Like someone like Amber Rose and Blac Chyna and Cardi B, the reason why I feel like, well, I already canceled Cardi B, but Blac Chyna and Amber Rose are on thin ice right now, and they are on some type of timeout indefinitely. Same thing with Kendrick Lamar, because he never apologized for those Ferguson comments, but here he is just posting all these pro-black songs and getting us to forget about it. Like, he wants us to look past the shit that he said, because black men love doing that shit where they say something ignorant and then we call them out for it, and then they want to distract us from the issue by doing something nice for us, by putting out good music instead of just saying what I did was fucking wrong. Now here's some new music to enjoy. That's what it should be. It should be like, hey, I know what I did was wrong, but here's some new music to enjoy. Same thing with T.I. He never apologized to Azealia Banks about wanting to throw her down the steps. And T.I., you still owe Azealia Banks an apology, because you want to sit here and act as if now you are for Black Lives Matter just because you are getting dragged from left to right over that Iggy Azalea stint. So now it's no longer cool to be hyping up Iggy Azalea. Now you just want to drop her from your label and act as if everything that happened 4 years ago never happened. And I have to call out Nicki Minaj as well, who said some problematic things. And instead of just apologizing, she kept saying she was a womanist, and she wanted us to forget about the nappy-headed hoe comment and stupid hoe and that monkey comment about Lil' Kim just because she didn't want to lose her fans. It would be better for you to just apologize and to lose certain fans who don't really care for your apology versus to not apologize at all. I would rather apologize and for people to not listen to me and to not really care for what I say versus just not apologize at all. But as for this canceling shit, I'm through with it. I'm through with that, because a lot of times people are just canceling people that they never liked in the first place. Like, you can sit here and say, I'm canceling Drake, but you never fucked with Drake. You never liked Drake. Y'all sitting here canceling Drake because he misrepresented a genre of music. Like, he misrepresented dancehall. And I do have an issue with that, because I feel Drake can really be putting all these dancehall artists on, these black British rappers on, but he wants to do it on his own. And I feel like how America is looking at it is, well, we don't need people from England. We don't need black people from Jamaica because we have Drake. Same thing with Canada. Like, we don't need all these dance hall artists. We don't need all these grime artists when we can just have Drake, because Drake is cheaper and Drake is more marketable. I miss the days back in the 90s where we had Beanie Man, we had Patra, we had all these artists from Jamaica, from the Caribbean, making cool music with African Americans, this cultural fusion between hip hop and dancehall and even reggae. I miss that. I miss the era of Shaggy and Sean Paul. Like, I really miss that, where we had Lady Saw as one of the female rappers. I miss all those people, and now we just have like watered down dancehall from these white artists and Drake. Like, I don't like that. I don't like that. But to go as far as to say Drake is the death of black culture when he's a black man himself, that's when I'm going to say something. Like, I can criticize Drake, but some people take criticizing Drake too far. Like, they will sit here and act as if he's a culture vulture and compare him to the likes of Iggy Azalea. Now, I heard Iggy Azalea's new little song, Mo Bounce. It's cute. It's a cute little bop. You know, I'm playing it, whatever. It's a cute bop. You know, Iggy Azalea has had some cute songs. You know, I'm not going to be one of those people that say if you listen to Iggy Azalea, you are racist. Or if you like Justin Timberlake, then you are a white supremacist. I'm not one of those people. But you can't keep supporting cultural appropriators, people who don't really care about us, you know, as a whole, unless, you know, it's for their benefit, and then get mad when we don't get the attention that we deserve. You can't support people like Rachel Dolezal and then mad when black women don't get the attention that they deserve. And this is to black men especially about the whole Rachel Dolezal thing, because I did not want to talk about this bitch again. I really did not want to talk about her, but here goes. I'm sick of black men saying it's not that big of a deal for white women to appropriate us, black women. I'm sick of black men saying let's worry about something more important than Rachel Dolezal pretending that she's in a black female body. And what that says to me is that you're looking at black women as an aesthetic, as something just frivolous, as something that's just, you know, something that's not really taken seriously because we're nothing but an aesthetic, something that's beautiful or pretty or something like that to you. Like, it's not of anything, it's not of any substance. Like, black women and their culture isn't of any substance. Like, box braids aren't of any substance, or, you know, cornrows aren't of any substance. You know, it's just an aesthetic. Like, y'all don't want to sit here and talk about, ooh, my eyebrows, ooh, my drawn on eyebrows be looking a little bit weird. A lot of people liked my edges be fucking healthy. Taco meat edges right here. I'm sorry I got distracted, but yeah, a lot of people said they liked the makeup from my last video. It doesn't look too bright. I guess it's just the sun that's just reflecting off of it, but yeah, and then also the edges kind of make it look lighter than what it is, but I just need to check. What was I saying? Yeah, about black men defending Rachel Dolezal and saying, you know, let's just move on because it's not a big deal. Like, just admit that she is a black woman. That bitch is not a black woman. It'd be one thing if she was just braiding hair and she was working with the NAACP. Fine. Like, I can see that. I can see if she were a white woman working with NAACP and braiding hair. Fine. But then that woman said that she was a black woman and manipulated colorism. Like, she knew by pretending that she was a light-skinned, white-passing black woman, people would support her because historically, I've heard this, in NAACP offices, they only allowed octoroons, quadroons. It was probably an exaggeration, but clearly women that look like white bitches. I'm going to say white bitches because I'm sick of people wanting to support people that are our oppressors. Wanting us to just forget about the fact that white women had a hand in black men and black women's oppression. Wanting us to forget that white women were the number one people getting black men killed and getting them lynched, castrated, stuff like that. But they didn't want to make statuses about how white women are so much easier than black women because we don't let black men dominate us. Stuff like that. So yes, I will say that because Rachel Dolezal is a fucking cunt, and I don't want anything to do with that bitch. Cause I made that video 3 years ago. I think it was 2 years ago. It was 2 years ago. And what Rachel Dolezal did was horrific. So I don't want to talk about that bitch. But for people to say it's not a big deal, bitch, are you supporting black women? Are you someone that's actively supporting black women? Are you getting black women book deals and stuff like that? I follow people that said that there are so many black women who deserve book deals more than a Rachel Dolezal. And I agree. So don't tell us it's not a big deal just because you're one of those black men that will sit up here and be a hotep and say black women are beautiful and you want multiple black women. Like you want everyone to be a black woman. That's what it sounds like. It sounds creepy. Like you someone that is so infatuated with the aesthetic of a black woman that you wish everyone was a black woman to the point where you have to allow cultural appropriation from non-black women. And that's the real reason why so many black men do not mind it when black women appropriate, or non-black women appropriate black women, because y'all love the aesthetic. Y'all, the more the merrier to you. But for us, it's serious. We take that shit seriously. You don't take it seriously. A lot of y'all cis niggas be thinking with your penises. Y'all don't be thinking with your heads. Y'all don't be thinking with your ethics and morals. Y'all be thinking with your penises and what turns you on. That's why niggas be mad at me when I talk about Kylie Jenner, because Kylie Jenner wants to sit up here acting as if like she's one of the people, like she's one of the girls, like she's a carefree black girl, but then don't want to take it seriously. And then Justine Skye, her friend, wants to block people that call that out. Because again, Justine Skye is one of those people that just lets people say something reckless to her that other people wouldn't let them get away with. She's one of those people that says, you know, it's okay for you to appropriate us because I have self-esteem. I know I'm pretty, blah, blah, blah. But a lot of us do not feel that way. A lot of us don't think the way that you think, where, you know, it's a compliment. No. When you grew up in an era where you were mocked for the way that you looked and for your features, especially your size, your shape, your ass, it's not a compliment to you. It says to me, it's now accepted because now white women, the standard of beauty, made it okay. That's like if you in class and you write this whole report on George Washington. It's a good essay. But the teacher doesn't give you a good grade for it. But yet the popular favorite student gets a good grade for it. And now it's like, oh, wow. Now you appreciate it because someone else did it. That's what it feels like to me. Moving on. Americanization. African Americanization. The latter, no such thing. Now, I understand what Americanization is. Americanization is either whitewashing someone or forcing someone to assimilate to the race that is the closest to you. Which, in America, when foreign black people come here, Americanization is a thing, and they feel as if they have to blend in with African Americans. But there are studies that show that foreign black people get more opportunities than African Americans because African Americans are seen as lazy. You know, they don't like their own black people, so they get different black people to do our work. So this is one thing that I'm confused of when I speak of cultural appropriation and how a lot of non-African Americans will sit here and say, well, you can't wear dashiki or box braids because, you know, you don't know anything about East African and West African culture, and, you know, you're not really African because you've been in America for centuries and blah, blah, blah. But then want to sit here and say lit, y'all, the habitual B, want to sit here and immerse themselves in hip-hop culture like it's nothing. And then when we ask them about it, it's, oh, it's Americanization. We feel that we gotta blend in so you don't call us weird. I don't take interpersonal relationships as serious as interracial issues. I don't take the desire for interpersonal relationships with other black people the same as systematic discrimination. I will say this again. Wanting interpersonal relations with other black people and feeling as if you are denied that is not the same thing as being denied something because of systematic discrimination, because of systematic anti-blackness and colorism. The word that you are looking for is anti-blackness, colorism, and Afrophobia. Yes, that is something that is real. That is something that needs to be talked about. But as I said before, no one is seriously oppressing you because you cannot speak of a. No one is oppressing you because you can't name 5 rappers in America. Like, it's just not something that's happening. You may feel alienated as a foreigner in America and you feel like you got to blend in to fit in, but most of those things seem casual. It seems interpersonal. It seems like you want to make friends with people that are African American and you don't know how to relate to us, so you try to immerse yourself in our culture. That's what it sounds like. It doesn't sound like it's a serious issue where you feel barred as a foreigner in America, that you got to blend into American society so you can get jobs. It doesn't sound like that, because every time I talk to a non-African American, it's usually, well, I didn't fit in elementary school, or like this boy or girl that I like was African American and they didn't like me because, you know, I was Nigerian. It's something like that. It's not something where it's related to systematic discrimination. Now, if you were to talk about colorism, they called me African booty scratcher. Okay, I can see that. Like I can totally see that, which would fall under colorism, texturism, anti-blackness. But that's something, as I said in my last video, we all go through that. So when it's mostly just, well, as a non-African American, you African Americans are the standard of blackness, I have to look at it as the standard of blackness, a group of people that aren't even seen as a culture, a group of people who are constantly told are ghetto, ratchet, violent, dangerous, to the point where Native Africans are telling their children not to hang out with us when we are in elementary, middle, and high school and college. We're the standard of blackness now. So when people say that we are the underbellies of the African diaspora, and then turn around and say, well, we are the standard of blackness, this is a very paradoxical argument, where y'all don't see us as a legitimate culture and ethnic group, but y'all excuse that by saying because we are the universal black people. Well, you can thank American imperialism for that. You can thank globalism, where all the negative images of African Americans are distributed in countries like South Asia, East Asia, West Africa, East Africa, North Africa, Central Africa, the Horn of Africa, Southern Africa, Europe, Germany, France, Britain, South America. Everyone knows about African Americans, and maybe to you as a black person, you think we're cool, you like our music, but to us, it's more than that. It's how we have been killed, we have been fired for practicing our African American culture. Now, I don't care if you say a they. I don't care if you do hip hop. I don't care, because that's cultural fusion. I said before, I don't give a damn about cultural fusion. As for non-African Americans saying lit, y'all, I don't care. I said this before, like, yes, Americanization makes it like everyone kind of talks like each other. But to sit here and to not listen to what an African American says about how, you know, you want to sit here and make it like not being African American enough is harming you. Well, one, you're not African American. You will never be African American. The word you are looking for is American enough. We're not American. All black people in America are not seen as true Americans. Even African Americans. When we are is when it's convenient, because they owned us. They are saying, yes, you are an American because we owned you. But they aren't saying as an individual we are an American. They are basically saying, yes, you know, you are an American, but that's just because, like, we owned you and we counted you as, like, was it 2/3 a vote, something like that, or whatever, something like that. Because the reason why they considered us citizens and blah 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 was because they would get us to vote for whatever party the master was voting for. So of course they wanted us to be considered citizens, American citizens, because then they could get more influence for their politician. Like if they wanted someone in office, they would like use a slave to count as 2/3 a vote. That's how it went. So I just really do not feel comfortable with people saying, well, the reason why I use a they inappropriately and all the time when I am speaking to an African American and even to a non-African American, a person of my ethnic group, because it's just cool, you know, or Americanization. And all the time, it'll never even be to an African American. Like, it's not even American people or people in America that are saying a they. It'd be people in other parts of the world that will be speaking a they to each other. They aren't even speaking in their own language. So it's like, yes, we are cool and blah, blah, blah. But if you can't bother to do your research other than to just look at us as an aesthetic, then I don't know what you are doing. What are you doing? That's all I have to say for now. Because I'm done. This movie or video is going into 35 minutes. So, peace out.